The dust swirled around Lucy's boots as she stood at the edge of the auction yard. Her heart felt heavy as lead while she watched the workers lead Thunder toward the sale ring. The black stallion's coat shined in the afternoon sun, but his eyes looked confused and scared. Thunder had been her best friend for 3 years now, and today might be the last day she ever saw him. Next up, we have this beautiful stallion. The auctioneer's voice boomed across the yard. He's strong, fast, and well-trained, perfect for any ranch or farm. Lucy's hands shook as she gripped the wooden fence. She wanted to run into that ring and take Thunder home, but she knew it was impossible. Her family had lost everything. Dad's medical bills had eaten up all their savings, and now they had to sell the ranch. Everything had to go. The land, the house, and all the animals. Mom would have hated this, Lucy whispered to herself, thinking about how her mother had spent months training Thunder when he was just a young colt. Mom had died 2 years ago, and Thunder was the last real connection Lucy had to her. The bidding started at $2,000. Lucy watched as different people raised their hands, each bid taking Thunder further away from her. She recognized most of the faces, local farmers and horse dealers who came to every auction. But there was one man she didn't know. He stood tall and confident near the front of the crowd. His clothes looked expensive, clean jeans, polished boots, and a hat that probably cost more than Lucy's family made in a month. He had dark hair and serious eyes that never left Thunder. When he raised his hand to bid, his movement was calm and sure. "3,000, called the auctioneer. The stranger raised his hand again. 4,000. Lucy felt sick to her stomach. This man clearly had money to burn, and he seemed determined to win Thunder. She could tell by the way he studied the horse that he knew quality when he saw it. Thunder was special, not just to Lucy, but to anyone who understood horses. Going once, going twice. The auctioneer began. Lucy couldn't take it anymore. Before, she knew what she was doing. She ducked under the fence and ran toward the ring. Her boots pounded against the hard-packed dirt as she made her way through the crowd. "Wait!" she called out, pushing past the other bidders. "Please, wait!" The auctioneer stopped mid-sentence. Everyone turned to stare at the young woman who had just interrupted the auction. Lucy's face burned red with embarrassment, but she didn't care. She had to try something. "Sir," she said, walking straight up to the well-dressed stranger. "You're here for Thunder, right? That black stallion?" The man looked surprised but nodded. "That's right, he's a fine horse." "Please don't buy him," Lucy said, her voice cracking with emotion. "I know you don't know me, and I know I have no right to ask this, but please. That horse means everything to me." The stranger's expression softened slightly. "I'm sorry, miss, but I need a good horse for my ranch. He looks like exactly what I'm looking for." "I understand that," Lucy said quickly. "But what if I told you I could give you something better than just a horse? What if I came with him?" The crowd around them started whispering. The stranger, who Lucy later learned was named Cole Rivers, raised an eyebrow. "What exactly are you suggesting?" "I'm suggesting you hire me instead of buying Thunder," Lucy said, surprised by her own boldness. "I know horses better than anyone in this county. I can train them, care for them, and help you build the best horse program you've ever seen. I'll work for you for free if you just let me keep Thunder." Cole studied her face carefully. "You'd work for free just to keep one horse?" "That horse isn't just any horse," Lucy explained. "My mom trained him from the day he was born. She died 2 years ago, and he's all I have left of her. Plus, he won't be good for anyone else. Thunder only trusts me. If you buy him and take him away, he'll be miserable and probably dangerous." "The girl's right about that," called out old Pete from the crowd. Pete had known Lucy's family for years. "That horse has been with Lucy since he was a baby. He won't take kindly to strangers." Cole looked from Lucy to Thunder, then back to Lucy. She could see him thinking it over. "What's your experience with horses?" "I've been working with them my whole life," Lucy said. "Mom taught me everything. How to break wild horses, how to train them for riding, how to spot problems before they get serious. I helped run our ranch until Dad got sick and we lost everything." "And you'd be willing to work just for room and board?" Lucy's heart started beating faster. Was he actually considering this? Yes, sir. I don't need much. Just a place to sleep, food to eat, and the chance to keep Thunder with me. Cole was quiet for a long moment. The whole auction yard seemed to be holding its breath, waiting to see what would happen. Finally, he spoke. Where exactly would you and this horse live? I assume your family ranch is being sold too? Yes, sir, Lucy said sadly. We have to be out by next week. I was planning to find work somewhere, maybe as a stable hand, but most places won't let me bring Thunder. And you really think you could help me more than just having the horse alone? I know I could, Lucy said with confidence. Thunder is smart and strong, but he's also stubborn. Without me, he might not cooperate with anyone. With me, you'd get a horse who will do anything you ask and a worker who knows how to handle any horse problem you might have. Cole looked at Thunder again, watching how the horse's ears perked up when he heard Lucy's voice. Even from across the ring, it was clear the animal was focused on her. What do you know about running a ranch? Cole asked. Enough, Lucy said honestly. Our place wasn't huge, but I helped with everything. Feeding, training, breeding, medical care. I can work cattle too, though horses are my specialty. The auctioneer was getting impatient. Sir, are you bidding or not? We have other animals to sell today. Cole held up his hand. Give me just another minute. He turned back to Lucy. If I agree to this, I want to be clear about something. This would be a job, not charity. I'd expect hard work and results. You'd get both, Lucy promised. And this arrangement would be temporary. Maybe 6 months to a year while you figure out your next move. Lucy's heart sank a little. She had hoped for something more permanent, but at least it would give her time with Thunder and a chance to prove herself. I understand, she said. Cole extended his hand. All right, young lady, you've got yourself a deal. I won't bid on your horse and you come work for me. We'll work out the details later. Lucy shook his hand, hardly believing what had just happened. Thank you, sir. You won't regret this. I hope not, Cole said with a small smile. By the way, I'm Cole Rivers. I own the Double R Ranch about 20 miles north of here. I'm Lucy Coleman, she said, and I promise you, Mr. Rivers, this is going to be the best decision you ever made. As they walked away from the auction ring together, Lucy felt hope for the first time in months. Thunder was safe, and she had a new chance to build a life. She had no idea that this moment would change everything for both her and Cole Rivers. 3 days later, Lucy stood in front of the biggest ranch house she had ever seen. The Double R Ranch stretched as far as her eyes could see, with rolling hills covered in green grass and wooden fences that looked like they went on forever. But something felt wrong about the place. Despite its size, the ranch looked run down and tired. Cole Rivers walked up beside her, carrying her small bag of belongings. I know it doesn't look like much right now, he said, noticing her confused expression. Lucy tried to be polite. It's beautiful, Mr. Rivers, really big. You can call me Cole, he said with a tired smile. And you're being nice. The truth is, this place is falling apart. As they walked toward the main barn, Lucy started to understand what he meant. The paint on the buildings was peeling. Several fence posts were broken and weeds grew everywhere. When they reached the horse pastures, Lucy gasped. There had to be at least 30 horses running wild in the fields, and they all looked like they had never been trained. Are those all wild horses? She asked. Most of them, Cole admitted. I inherited this ranch from my uncle 6 months ago. He had big dreams about breeding and training horses, but he died before he could finish what he started. Now I'm stuck with all these animals and no idea what to do with them. Lucy watched the horses run and play in the distance. They were beautiful, different colors and sizes, all strong and healthy looking. But she could tell just by watching them that they had never been properly handled. What did you do before you got the ranch? Lucy asked as they continued walking. I worked in an office in the city, Cole said, looking embarrassed. I sold insurance. Never owned a horse in my life until I inherited all these. Lucy stopped walking and stared at him. You bought Thunder and you've never worked with horses before? I was desperate, Cole explained. I've been trying to figure this place out for months. I thought if I bought one good, trained horse, maybe I could learn from watching him. Then I could start working with the others. That's actually not a terrible plan, Lucy said, impressed by his thinking. But it would have taken you years to figure it out on your own. They reached the barn and Lucy's heart sank even more. The building was huge but completely disorganized. Horse equipment was scattered everywhere, stalls were dirty, and everything smelled like it hadn't been cleaned in weeks. "This is where you'd be working," Cole said, looking around the messy barn. "I know it's not great right now." Lucy rolled up her sleeves. "It's not that bad. Just needs some attention." She walked over to examine some of the horse equipment. Most of it was good quality but hadn't been cared for properly. "Your uncle had good taste in gear. This stuff just needs cleaning and organizing." "You really think you can help me turn this place around?" Cole asked. "I know I can," Lucy said confidently, "but I need to understand something first. What's your goal here? Do you want to sell the ranch? Keep it as a hobby? Or do you actually want to make money with these horses?" Cole leaned against a stall door and sighed. "Honestly, I don't know. My uncle left me everything in his will, including a lot of debt. The bank is breathing down my neck and I need to start making money soon or I'll lose the whole place." "How soon?" Lucy asked. "They want to see some progress in the next 6 months or they'll force me to sell." Lucy nodded thoughtfully. "That's tight, but it's possible. What kind of money are we talking about?" "I need to bring in at least $5,000 a month to keep up with the payments," Cole said. "Right now I'm making nothing from the horses." Lucy walked around the barn, her mind racing with possibilities. "With 30 horses, that's definitely doable. But we'd need to work fast and smart." "What do you mean?" "Well, first we'd need to separate the horses by age and temperament," Lucy explained. "The young ones we could train for riding. People always want good riding horses. The older, calmer ones we could use for trail rides or lessons. And if any of them are really special, we might be able to sell them for breeding." Cole looked amazed. "You can tell all that just by looking at them?" "My mom taught me how to read horses," Lucy said. "Every horse has a personality just like people. Some are natural athletes, some are gentle and patient. Some are smart and quick to learn. You just have to figure out what each one is good at." They walked outside to look at the horses again. Lucy pointed to a brown mare standing near the fence. "See that one? She's watching us but not running away. That tells me she's curious about people and probably easy to train. And that black one over there, see how he's keeping the other horses calm? He's a natural leader." "I never would have noticed any of that," Cole admitted. "That's because you're thinking like a businessman," Lucy said. "You're looking at the whole picture. I'm looking at the details." "So you really think we could make this work?" Cole asked hopefully. "I think we could make it work better than your uncle ever dreamed," Lucy said. "But it won't be easy. We'd need to work together every single day, and you'd have to trust me to make decisions about the horses." Cole extended his hand again. "Deal, but I want to add something to our agreement." Lucy shook his hand cautiously. "What kind of something?" "If we can turn this place around and start making real money, I want you to be my partner, not just my employee. We split the profits 50-50. Lucy's eyes went wide. "Are you serious?" "Dead serious. I need your expertise and you need a place to rebuild your life. We both have something to gain and something to lose. Partners make more sense than boss and worker." Lucy felt tears starting in her eyes. When she woke up this morning, she was just grateful to have a job and a place for Thunder. Now Cole was offering her a chance to own part of a ranch again. "There's just one thing," she said quietly. "I've never run anything this big before. Our family ranch only had 8 horses. And I've never run any kind of ranch," Cole pointed out. "But you know horses and I know business. Together we might actually know enough to succeed." Lucy looked out at the wild horses running in the distance and thought about Thunder, who was now safely grazing in a small pasture near the barn. 6 months ago her whole world had fallen apart. Now she had a chance to build something even better than what she'd lost. "Okay, partner," she said, shaking Cole's hand again. "Let's save this ranch." As the sun set over the Double R Ranch that evening, Lucy and Cole sat on the porch making plans. For the first time since her mother died, Lucy felt like she was exactly where she belonged. She had no idea that saving the ranch would be the easy part compared to what her heart was about to go through. 2 weeks into their partnership, Lucy realized that working with Cole Rivers was going to be harder than training 30 wild horses. The man had good intentions, but he wanted everything done yesterday, and he had some very strange ideas about how to handle animals. "We need to move faster," Cole said for the 3rd time that morning as Lucy worked with a young chestnut mare named Honey. "At this rate, it'll take us 2 years to get all these horses trained." Lucy kept her voice calm as she slowly approached Honey with a halter. "Good things take time, Cole. If we rush this, we'll end up with horses that are scared of people instead of horses that trust people." But the bank doesn't care about trust, Cole said, pacing back and forth outside the round pen. They care about money. We need to start selling horses. Lucy stopped what she was doing and turned to face her partner. And we will sell horses. But we're going to sell horses that people actually want to buy, not traumatized animals that will cause problems for their new owners. This was their biggest disagreement. Cole approached everything like a business problem that needed a quick solution. Lucy knew that horses weren't machines. They were living creatures with feelings and memories. Push them too hard, too fast, and they'd never forget it. Look, Lucy said, walking over to the fence where Cole stood. In my experience, there are two ways to train a horse. The fast way and the right way. The fast way might get you a horse that follows commands out of fear. The right way gets you a horse that wants to work with you. And which way makes more money? Cole asked. The right way, Lucy said without hesitation. A horse trained with patience and respect will be worth twice as much as a horse trained with force. Plus, happy horses live longer, stay healthier, and don't hurt people. Cole sighed and rubbed his forehead. I'm sorry, Lucy, I know you're the expert here. It's just that I've never been in a situation where I couldn't control the timeline. In business, if you need something done faster, you throw more money or more people at the problem. Horses don't work like that, Lucy said gently. But I understand the pressure you're under. Tell you what, let me show you something that might help. She led Cole over to a different pasture where she had separated 5 of the calmest, oldest horses. These guys are ready to start earning money right now. They're already gentle and used to people. With just a few weeks of basic training, we could use them for trail rides. Cole's eyes lit up. Trail rides? There's a tourist lodge about 10 miles from here. City people love to come out and pretend to be cowboys for a weekend. They pay good money for safe, quiet horses that won't dump them in the dirt. How much money? Lucy had already done the research. $50 per horse per ride. If we can get just 2 rides per horse per week, that's $500 a week from these 5 horses alone. That's $2,000 a month, Cole said excitedly. Just from 5 horses. Exactly. And while these horses are earning money, I keep training the younger ones for bigger sales later. It's like having a steady income while we build up our main product. For the first time since Lucy had arrived, Cole looked truly hopeful. You really think the lodge will go for it? I already called them, Lucy said with a grin. The owner wants to meet with us next week. Apparently their old horse supplier retired and they've been looking for someone new. Cole stared at her in amazement. When did you have time to research all this? I've been getting up early, Lucy admitted. I wanted to make sure I could deliver on my promises. The truth was, Lucy had been getting up at 4 in the morning every day. She spent the early hours working with the horses, then did research on her phone during lunch breaks and often worked until dark. She was exhausted, but she was also more determined than she'd ever been in her life. There's something else, Lucy said. I've been watching you with the horses, and I think you're trying too hard to be tough. Cole looked confused. What do you mean? Come here, Lucy said, leading him into the pen with Honey. Hold out your hand, but don't look directly at her. Let her come to you. Cole did as Lucy instructed, though she could see he was nervous. Honey slowly walked over and sniffed his hand, then gently nudged it with her nose. She likes you, Lucy said softly, but you're always so tense around them. Horses can feel that energy and it makes them nervous too. I don't want to look weak, Cole admitted. These are big animals. I thought I needed to show them who's boss. Being calm and confident isn't the same as being weak, Lucy explained. Watch this. She approached a different horse, a large black gelding that had been giving them trouble. Instead of trying to catch him, she simply stood in the middle of the pen and waited. What are you doing? Cole whispered. Showing him that I'm not a threat, Lucy whispered back. If I chase him, it becomes a game of who's stronger. If I wait, it becomes his choice to trust me. After about 5 minutes, the black horse slowly walked over to Lucy and lowered his head. She gently scratched his neck and the horse relaxed completely. How did you do that? Cole asked in amazement. I didn't do anything, Lucy said. I let him do it. Sometimes the best way to get what you want is to stop trying so hard to take it. Cole was quiet for a long moment, watching Lucy work with the horse. Is that what you think I'm doing wrong? Trying too hard? I think you're scared, Lucy said honestly. And that's okay. This is all new to you, but horses respond to calm confidence, not nervous aggression. Can you teach me? Cole asked. I mean, really teach me, not just tell me what to do. Lucy smiled. I thought you'd never ask, but it means spending a lot more time with the horses and a lot less time behind that desk in your office. Deal, Cole said immediately. If we're going to be partners, I need to understand what we're actually doing. Over the next few weeks, Lucy watched Cole transform from a nervous city businessman into someone who genuinely understood horses. He still made mistakes, and he still wanted things to happen faster than was practical. But he stopped trying to intimidate the animals and started learning to communicate with them. The breakthrough came when Cole successfully trained his first horse completely on his own. It was a young bay mare that had been scared of people when they started. By the end of 2 weeks, she was following Cole around like a loyal dog. "I can't believe she actually likes me," Cole said, grinning as the mare nuzzled his shoulder. "You earned it," Lucy said, feeling proud of her partner's progress. "You were patient, consistent, and kind. That's all horses really want from us." As they walked back to the barn that evening, Lucy realized something had changed between them too. They weren't just business partners anymore, they were becoming friends. Cole had stopped treating her like an employee and started treating her like an equal. And Lucy had stopped seeing him as just another city person who didn't understand country life. "Hey, Lucy," Cole said as they reached the barn. "Thanks for not giving up on me. I know I was pretty difficult at first." "We're both learning," Lucy said. "You're learning about horses, and I'm learning about business. We make a good team." What Lucy didn't say was that she was also learning something else, that Cole Rivers was nothing like the wealthy, arrogant man she had first thought him to be. Under all that business talk and nervous energy was someone who genuinely cared about doing things right. And that realization was starting to scare her more than any wild horse ever could. 1 month into their partnership, Lucy thought she had Cole Rivers figured out. He was a city guy trying to make the best of a situation he never wanted to be in. But then she found him sitting on the porch at midnight staring out at the horses and looking like he carried the weight of the world on his shoulders. "Can't sleep?" Lucy asked, stepping outside with 2 cups of coffee. Cole looked up, surprised. "I didn't know you were still awake." "Thanks," he said, accepting the coffee gratefully. Lucy sat down in the rocking chair next to his. "I heard you walking around in there. Everything okay?" Cole was quiet for a long moment, just sipping his coffee and watching the moonlight reflect off the pasture. "Can I ask you something personal?" "Sure. Do you ever feel like you're living someone else's life?" Lucy thought about that. "Sometimes. Especially since Mom died. I keep wondering what she would have done in my situation." "That's exactly how I feel," Cole said. "This whole ranch, it was my uncle's dream, not mine. I never even met the man until he was on his deathbed. My dad and his brother had some big fight when I was little, and our families never spoke. So why did he leave you everything?" "Because I was his only living relative," Cole said with a bitter laugh. "His lawyer said Uncle Bill spent his last few years trying to track down our family. He wanted to make amends for whatever happened between him and my dad." Lucy could hear the pain in Cole's voice. "That sounds like a good thing." "Maybe. But he also left me with $200,000 in debt and a ranch I have no idea how to run. Sometimes I wonder if he was trying to help me or punish me." "What would you have done if he hadn't left you the ranch?" Lucy asked. "Kept selling insurance, I guess. It wasn't exciting, but it paid the bills and let me live a quiet life." Cole shook his head. "I know that probably sounds boring to someone like you." "Someone like me?" "Someone brave enough to bet everything on a dream. You gave up a sure job to come work with a stranger, just to save your horse. That takes guts," Lucy almost laughed. "Cole, I wasn't being brave. I was desperate. I would have done anything to keep Thunder. But you didn't just save your horse. You're helping save this whole place. You had a vision for what we could do here, and you're making it happen." "We're making it happen," Lucy corrected. "I couldn't do any of this without you. I just write checks and try not to get in your way." "That's not true," Lucy said firmly. "You think I don't notice how hard you're working? You're out here before sunrise every morning, and you don't quit until the work is done. You're learning everything I teach you, even when it's hard. And you're the one handling all the business stuff I don't understand." Cole looked at her with surprise. "Really? Really? And there's something else you're doing that you probably don't even realize." "What's that?" "You're taking care of people. Mrs. Henderson down the road told me you've been buying feed from her husband's store even though you could get it cheaper in town. And yesterday I saw you helping old Pete fix his truck instead of working on our fences." Cole looked embarrassed. "Those are just small things." "Small things matter," Lucy said. "They show what kind of person you really are." They sat in comfortable silence for a while, just enjoying the peaceful night. Finally, Cole spoke again. "Can I tell you something I've never told anyone?" Of course. I'm terrified I'm going to fail at this and lose everything. Not just for me, but for you too. You've worked so hard, and if I mess this up, you'll lose your home again. Lucy felt her heart squeeze. She had been so focused on proving herself that she hadn't realized Cole was carrying the same fears she was. Cole, look at me, she said gently. We're not going to fail. How can you be so sure? Because I've watched you with the horses. A month ago, you were afraid to get near them. Now you're training them like you've been doing it your whole life. You don't give up when things get hard. But what if it's not enough? Then we'll figure something else out, Lucy said simply. That's what partners do. Cole smiled for the first time that evening. When did you get so wise? My mom used to say that problems always look bigger in the dark. She was right. Most things that feel impossible at midnight seem manageable in the morning. Your mom sounds like she was an amazing woman. She was, Lucy said softly. She would have liked you, I think. She always said the measure of a person wasn't where they started, but what they did when life knocked them down. Life definitely knocked me down, Cole said. I went from having a predictable life to not knowing what tomorrow will bring. But you got back up, Lucy pointed out. You could have sold this place the day you inherited it and gone back to your old life. Instead, you decided to fight for it, with a lot of help from you. Maybe, but the choice was yours. They talked until the sun came up, sharing stories about their families, their dreams, and their fears. Lucy learned that Cole had always felt like he was disappointing his father, who wanted him to be more ambitious. Cole learned that Lucy sometimes felt guilty for being happy at the ranch when her family had lost everything. Do you miss your old life? Lucy asked as they watched the sunrise paint the sky pink and gold. Parts of it, Cole admitted. I miss knowing what to expect each day. I miss feeling competent at my job. But I don't miss feeling like I was just going through the motions. What do you mean? I mean I'm more alive now than I've been in years. Every day is different. Every problem we solve feels important. And working with you and the horses? It's hard, but it matters in a way my old job never did. Lucy felt something flutter in her chest at his words. I know what you mean. I feel more like myself here than I have since Mom died. Even though everything is uncertain. Maybe because everything is uncertain, Lucy said thoughtfully. When my family lost the ranch, I thought my life was over. But maybe it was just beginning. As they walked back into the house together, Lucy realized something had shifted between them. They weren't just business partners anymore, and they weren't just friends either. They were two people who had chosen to trust each other with their dreams and fears. Over the next few weeks, Lucy found herself looking forward to their evening conversations on the porch. She started noticing little things about Cole. How gentle his hands were when he worked with the horses. How he always made sure she ate lunch even when they were busy. How his whole face lit up when one of their plans worked out, and she started to worry that she was developing feelings that could complicate everything they had built. Together, Cole seemed to be going through something similar. Lucy caught him watching her sometimes when he thought she wasn't looking. He started finding excuses to work alongside her instead of handling the business side of things from his office. And once, when a horse spooked and nearly knocked Lucy over, the look of concern on Cole's face was more than what you'd expect from just a business partner. Neither of them talked about what was happening between them. They were both too afraid of risking the partnership that had become so important to both their futures. But the tension was growing stronger every day, and Lucy knew that sooner or later, they were going to have to address the elephant in the room. The question was whether acknowledging their feelings would bring them closer together, or destroy everything they had worked so hard to build. Everything changed the day Lucy got the phone call about Thunder. She was in the barn teaching Cole how to properly clean a horse's hooves when her phone rang. She almost didn't answer it because the number wasn't familiar, but something made her pick up. Is this Lucy Coleman? The voice asked. Yes, this is Lucy. This is Dr. Martinez from Riverside Animal Hospital. I have a horse here that belongs to you. A black stallion named Thunder? Lucy's heart stopped. Thunder? But he was sold at auction 2 months ago. How did you get him? The man who bought him brought Thunder in this morning. The horse is in pretty bad shape, Miss Coleman. Underweight, stressed, and he has some injuries that suggest he's been mistreated. Lucy felt sick to her stomach. Is he going to be okay? Physically, yes. But he's traumatized. He won't let anyone near him except to give him food and water. The owner wants to put him down because he says the horse is too dangerous to handle. No, Lucy said loudly, causing Cole to look up from the horse he was working with. Please don't let him do that. Thunder isn't dangerous, he's just scared. That's what I hoped you'd say, Dr. Martinez said. I remember you and your mother bringing horses to our clinic. I know you're good with difficult animals, but there's a problem. What kind of problem? The owner wants $5,000 for the horse and he wants the money by tomorrow, or he's going to have Thunder put down. He says he's tired of dealing with a horse that won't cooperate. Lucy felt the world spinning around her. $5,000 might as well have been $5 million. Even with their recent success with the trail riding business, she and Cole were still barely making ends meet. Lucy, Dr. Martinez said. Are you still there? I'm here, Lucy managed to say. Can you give me until tomorrow afternoon? I'll do my best to stall him. But Lucy, you need to know, even if you get Thunder back, it's going to take months of patient work to help him trust people again. This man did some real damage. After Lucy hung up, she stood in the barn trying not to cry. Thunder was alive, but he was suffering and she had no way to save him. Lucy, what's wrong? Cole asked, walking over to her. You look like you've seen a ghost. Lucy told him everything Dr. Martinez had said. With each word, she watched Cole's expression grow more serious. $5,000, Cole said quietly. That's exactly what we've managed to save up for emergencies. I know, Lucy said, wiping her eyes. And I know we can't afford it. We need that money to keep the ranch running. I can't bear the thought of Thunder being put down because some cruel man doesn't know how to treat animals. Cole was quiet for a long time, looking out at their horses peacefully grazing in the pasture. Finally, he turned back to Lucy. Get your truck keys, he said. What? We're going to get Thunder. Lucy stared at him. Cole, we can't. That money is supposed to keep us afloat if something goes wrong with the business. Something has gone wrong, Cole said firmly. A horse that means everything to you is about to be killed because his owner is an idiot. That sounds like exactly the kind of emergency we've been saving for. But what if the bank needs to see that we have savings? What if we lose a customer and need backup funds? Cole put his hands on Lucy's shoulders and looked directly into her eyes. Lucy, when you found me at that auction, you didn't have any backup plan. You just knew you had to save Thunder, so you took a huge risk. Now it's my turn to take a risk for something that matters. Thunder matters to me, not to you, Lucy said, though her heart was pounding with hope. You matter to me, Cole said simply. And if Thunder matters to you, then he matters to me too. Besides, he's part of this ranch now. We don't abandon family. The drive to the animal hospital was tense and quiet. Lucy kept thinking about all the things that could go wrong. What if they needed that money for equipment repairs? What if one of their horses got sick and needed expensive treatment? What if the bank decided they weren't making progress fast enough? But when they arrived at the hospital and Lucy saw Thunder, all those worries disappeared. The proud, beautiful horse she remembered was now thin and nervous, with cuts on his legs and a look of defeat in his eyes. The moment he saw Lucy, though, his ears pricked up and he whinnied softly. Hey there, beautiful boy, Lucy whispered, slowly approaching his stall. I'm so sorry this happened to you. Thunder came to the front of the stall and put his head against Lucy's chest. She could feel him trembling, and it broke her heart. Dr. Martinez was right, Cole said quietly. Someone really hurt him. But he remembers me, Lucy said, gently stroking Thunder's neck. That's a good sign. He can learn to trust again. The transaction with Thunder's owner was unpleasant. The man was rude and impatient, clearly just wanting to get rid of what he saw as a problem. He didn't even seem to care that he had nearly destroyed a magnificent animal through his ignorance and cruelty. Good luck with him, the man said sarcastically as he pocketed Cole's check. Maybe you'll have better luck than I did. We will, Lucy said firmly. Because we actually care about him. Getting Thunder into the horse trailer was challenging. The stallion was scared of being confined again, and it took Lucy nearly an hour of patient coaxing to convince him that the trailer was safe. Cole helped by staying calm and following Lucy's instructions exactly, never pushing or rushing. The drive back to the ranch was different from the drive there. Instead of worrying about money, Lucy found herself thinking about how lucky she was to have a partner who would risk everything to help her save Thunder. Cole, she said, as they pulled into their driveway, I don't know how to thank you. You don't need to thank me, Cole said. We're partners, remember? Partners help each other. This was more than just business help. You risked our entire emergency fund for a horse that most people would have given up on. Cole parked the truck and turned to look at her. Lucy, do you remember what you told me that first night? You said that sometimes the best way to get what you want is to stop trying so hard to take it. Yeah, I remember. Well, I've been thinking about that a lot lately. Maybe the same thing applies to success. Maybe if I stop worrying so much about controlling every outcome and just focus on doing the right thing, everything else will work out. And you think saving Thunder was the right thing? I think saving Thunder was the only thing, Cole said. At least it was the only thing that would let me look at myself in the mirror tomorrow morning. As they carefully led Thunder out of the trailer and into his new home, Lucy realized that something fundamental had changed between her and Cole. This wasn't just about business anymore, and it wasn't just about friendship either. Cole had just proven that he would sacrifice his own financial security to prevent her from losing something precious. That kind of caring went way beyond partnership. Over the next few weeks, as Lucy worked patiently to help Thunder heal both physically and emotionally, she found herself watching Cole with new eyes. She noticed how he checked on Thunder every morning and evening, even though the horse still wouldn't let him get close. She saw how he never complained about the money they had spent, even when other bills were tight, and she observed how proud he looked whenever Thunder made a small bit of progress. He's starting to trust again, Lucy told Cole one evening as they watched Thunder graze peacefully in his pasture. Just like his owner, Cole said quietly. Lucy looked at him questioningly. What do you mean? I mean, you're starting to trust again, too. When you first came here, you were so guarded. You acted like you expected me to betray you or let you down. But lately you seem more relaxed. Maybe because you haven't betrayed me or let me down, Lucy said softly. Maybe because we're both learning that some people are worth the risk, Cole replied. As they stood there watching Thunder under the starlit sky, Lucy felt the last of her walls crumbling down. She was falling for Cole Rivers, and for the first time since her mother died, she wasn't afraid of caring about someone. The storm hit without warning on a Tuesday night in late September. Lucy woke up to the sound of thunder so loud it shook the windows and rain pounding against the roof like bullets. But what really got her out of bed was the sound of horses screaming in terror. She threw on her clothes and boots and ran outside into the chaos. The wind was so strong she could barely stand upright, and the rain soaked her through in seconds. Lightning lit up the ranch in quick, terrifying flashes, and she could see horses running everywhere. "Cole," she yelled, but the wind carried her voice away. A section of the main fence had been torn down by a falling tree, and at least a dozen horses had escaped into the night. In the distance, she could see more fencing damaged and gates hanging open. This was a disaster. Cole appeared beside her, already soaked and shouting to be heard over the storm. "The barn's flooded. We need to move the horses to higher ground." For the next 3 hours, Lucy and Cole worked together in the worst conditions either of them had ever experienced. They moved the horses that were still in the barn to a safer pasture on a hill. They tried to repair fences with whatever materials they could find, and they searched for the escaped horses, calling their names into the howling wind. By the time the storm started to calm down, they had accounted for all but 3 horses. Thunder was safe. Lucy had checked on him first. But they were missing Honey, the gentle mare Cole had trained himself, plus 2 of the younger horses they had been planning to sell. "We have to find them," Lucy said, even though she was exhausted and shivering with cold. "It's too dangerous," Cole replied. "There are power lines down everywhere, and we can't see anything in this darkness. We'll have to wait until morning." Lucy shook her head. "Those horses are terrified and lost. They could hurt themselves or wander onto the highway. We can't wait, Lucy, be reasonable. We've been working in this storm for hours. You're exhausted." "I'm fine," Lucy insisted, though she was swaying on her feet from tiredness. Cole grabbed her arm gently but firmly. "No, you're not fine. And I'm not letting you go out there and get hurt looking for horses that might have already found shelter somewhere." "They're our responsibility," Lucy said, pulling away from him. "If something happens to them because we waited until morning, I'll never forgive myself." Before Cole could stop her, Lucy climbed onto one of the horses they had managed to round up and rode off into the storm. She heard Cole shouting behind her, but she was already gone. The next hour was a nightmare. Lucy searched everywhere she could think of, calling for the missing horses and listening for any sound that might lead her to them. The wind was still strong enough to knock down branches, and twice she had to duck as debris flew past her head. She finally found Honey huddled under a grove of trees about a mile from the ranch. The mare was scared but uninjured, and she was happy to see Lucy. As Lucy was leading Honey back toward home, she heard a sound that made her blood run cold, a horse in serious distress. Following the sound, she found one of the young horses trapped under a fallen fence post. The animal was lying on his side, clearly in pain and unable to get up. Lucy dismounted and tried to lift the heavy wooden post, but it was too heavy for her to move alone. That's when she heard hoofbeats approaching fast. Cole appeared on his horse, riding hard through the mud and darkness. "I told you not to come out here alone," he yelled as he dismounted. "Help me lift this," Lucy yelled back. His leg might be broken. Together they managed to lift the fence post off the trapped horse. The animal struggled to his feet, favoring one leg but able to walk. It wasn't broken, just bruised and scared. "Thank God," Lucy breathed, checking the horse over carefully. "We need to get back," Cole said. "This storm isn't over yet." They were leading both horses back toward the ranch when the lightning struck. It hit a tree not 50 feet from where they were walking, splitting the trunk with a crack like a gunshot and sending burning branches flying through the air. Cole's horse spooked and reared up, throwing him from the saddle. Lucy watched in horror as Cole hit the ground hard and didn't get up. "Cole." She tied both horses to a sturdy tree and ran to where Cole was lying motionless in the mud. "Cole, can you hear me?" He was unconscious, with blood coming from a cut on his forehead. Lucy felt for a pulse and found one, strong and steady, but he wouldn't wake up when she called his name. Lucy had never been so scared in her life. They were still a quarter-mile from the ranch house. Cole was hurt and unconscious, and the storm was getting worse again. She couldn't lift him onto a horse by herself, and she couldn't leave him lying in the mud while she went for help. "Come on, Cole," she whispered, stroking his face gently. "I need you to wake up. Please wake up." For several terrifying minutes, Cole remained unconscious. Lucy kept talking to him, telling him about the horses they'd found, about how proud she was of the way he'd learned to ride, about how much the ranch meant to both of them. She told him things she'd never said out loud before. "I can't do this without you," she said, tears mixing with the rain on her face. "I know we're supposed to be partners, but the truth is you've become so much more than that to me. I need you to be okay because I can't imagine my life without you in it." Finally, Cole's eyes fluttered open. "Lucy," he said weakly. "I'm here," she said, relief flooding through her. "You fell off your horse and hit your head. How do you feel?" "Like I got struck by lightning," Cole said, trying to sit up. "Did we find the horses?" "We found them. They're going to be fine. But you're hurt and we need to get you back to the house." "I'm okay," Cole said, though Lucy could see he was dizzy and disoriented. "No, you're not okay, and I'm not taking any chances with your health." It took them another hour to make it back to the ranch house, with Cole leaning heavily on Lucy for support. By the time they got inside, they were both exhausted, soaked, and covered in mud. Lucy insisted on driving Cole to the emergency room, despite his protests that he felt fine. The doctor confirmed that he had a concussion and needed to rest for several days. "You're lucky," the doctor told him. "Head injuries can be very serious. You need someone to keep an eye on you for the next 48 hours. "I'll stay with him," Lucy said immediately. For the next 2 days, Lucy barely left Cole's side. She brought him meals, made sure he took his medicine, and woke him up every few hours to check that he was responsive, just like the doctor had instructed. "You don't have to hover over me like this," Cole said on the second day, though he didn't sound like he really minded. "Yes, I do," Lucy said firmly. "You risked your life to help me find those horses. The least I can do is make sure you recover properly." "I risked my life because I was worried about you being out there alone," Cole said quietly. "When you rode off into that storm, I've never been so scared in my life." Lucy looked up from the book she was reading. "Really? Really? I couldn't stand the thought of something happening to you." "That's funny," Lucy said softly, "because when I saw you lying unconscious in the mud, I realized I couldn't stand the thought of something happening to you either." They looked at each other for a long moment, and Lucy could feel the air in the room change. All the feelings they had been dancing around for months were suddenly right there in the open. "Lucy," Cole said carefully, "I need to tell you something." "What?" "When I was lying there in the storm, I could hear you talking to me. You said some things." Lucy felt her cheeks burn with embarrassment. "Oh, you heard that." "I heard you say you couldn't imagine your life without me in it. I meant as a business partner." Lucy said quickly, though they both knew that wasn't true. Did you? Cole asked gently. Lucy took a deep breath. No, I didn't. Good, Cole said, reaching for her hand. Because I can't imagine my life without you in it either. And not just as a business partner. Cole, we can't. This could complicate everything we've built here. Or it could make everything we've built here even better, Cole said. Lucy, what we have isn't just a business partnership anymore. We both know that. The question is, what are we going to do about it? Lucy looked down at their joined hands and made a decision that would change everything. I don't know, she said honestly, but I'd like to find out. 3 weeks after the storm, Lucy stood in the kitchen holding a letter that could change everything. The envelope was thick and official looking, with the logo of Westfield Equestrian Center printed in gold letters across the top. She had been staring at it for 10 minutes, afraid to open it. Bad news? Cole asked, walking in from his morning rounds with the horses. His head injury had healed completely, but Lucy still worried about him doing too much too soon. I don't know yet, Lucy said, holding up the envelope. Remember that job application I sent out a few months ago? Before I came here? Cole's expression changed. The one for the horse training facility? This is their response. Lucy had completely forgotten about the application until the letter arrived. She had sent it out during those desperate weeks when her family was losing everything, applying for any job that would let her work with horses. Westfield was one of the most prestigious equestrian centers in the country, and she never thought they would even consider her. Are you going to open it? Cole asked quietly. Lucy tore open the envelope and read the letter twice before the words sank in. They want to offer me a job, she said in disbelief. That's great, Cole said, though his voice didn't sound like he thought it was great at all. They want me to manage their entire training program. It's a huge opportunity, Cole. The kind of job I never dreamed I could get. Lucy read parts of the letter out loud. The salary was more than she had ever imagined making. They were offering her a house on the property, full benefits, and the chance to work with some of the most expensive horses in the world. It was everything she had ever wanted in a career. When do they need an answer? Cole asked. 2 weeks. Cole nodded and turned to look out the window at their horses. You should take it. What? You should take the job, Lucy. It's an amazing opportunity. Lucy stared at him. Just like that? You think I should leave? I think you should do what's best for your future, Cole said carefully. This is the kind of chance that only comes along once in a lifetime. But what about our partnership? What about the ranch? Cole was quiet for a long time. I always knew this was temporary, Lucy. You're too talented to stay stuck on a small ranch with someone who's still learning which end of a horse to feed. Don't say that, Lucy said sharply. You're not some amateur anymore, Cole. You've become a real horseman. And this ranch isn't small. We've built something amazing here. We have, Cole agreed. But you could build something even more amazing at Westfield. They have resources we'll never have here. You could work with the best horses, learn from the best trainers, really make a name for yourself in the industry. Lucy felt frustrated and confused. Why are you pushing me to leave? I thought, after what we talked about during your recovery. What we talked about is exactly why you should go, Cole said, finally turning to face her. Lucy, I don't want you to stay here because you feel obligated to me. I don't want you to give up your dreams because we've gotten close. My dreams? Lucy repeated. Cole, my dreams aren't about working at some fancy facility with rich people's horses. My dreams are about building something that matters, something that lasts. I thought that's what we were doing here. It is what we're doing here, but that doesn't mean it's the best thing for you. Lucy set the letter down on the kitchen table and crossed her arms. I think I should be the one to decide what's best for me. Should you? Cole asked. Or are you too emotionally invested in this place to see clearly? What's that supposed to mean? Cole sighed and ran his hand through his hair. It means that ever since we admitted we have feelings for each other, I've been worried that you might make decisions based on those feelings instead of what's actually good for your career. Lucy felt like he had slapped her. So you think I'm not capable of making rational decisions because I care about you? I think you're the kind of person who puts other people's needs before your own, Cole said. And I think you might talk yourself out of this opportunity because you're worried about leaving me in the ranch. Maybe I'm worried about those things because they matter to me. They matter to me too, Cole said quietly. Which is why I want you to make this decision without worrying about how it affects me. Lucy stared at him in disbelief. Without worrying about how it affects you? Cole, we're partners. Everything we do affects each other. That's what partnership means. But this is bigger than our partnership. This is your whole future. And what if I think my future is here? What if I think we could build something together that's better than anything I could do alone? Cole looked at her with such sadness that it broke her heart. Then I'd say you're not thinking clearly. That night, Lucy lay awake thinking about the conversation. She was hurt and angry that Cole was so quick to encourage her to leave, but she was also confused by her own feelings. The job offer really was incredible. At Westfield, she would have access to training methods and resources she could only dream about at the Double R Ranch. She could learn from master trainers, work with horses worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, and build a reputation that could open doors anywhere in the world. But every time she tried to imagine herself at Westfield, all she could think about was what she would be leaving behind. Not just Cole, though that was a huge part of it. She would be leaving Thunder, who was finally starting to trust again. She would be leaving the horses they had trained together, the trail riding business they had built from scratch, and the satisfaction of taking something broken and making it whole. Over the next few days, Lucy found herself watching Cole carefully, trying to understand why he seemed so determined to push her away. He was being perfectly normal on the surface, still working hard, still learning, still treating her with respect and kindness. But there was a distance there that hadn't been there before, like he was already preparing for her to leave. "You're pulling away from me," Lucy said one evening as they finished feeding the horses. "I'm not pulling away. I'm just trying to give you space to make your decision. By acting like you don't care whether I stay or go." Cole stopped walking and turned to face her. "Lucy, of course I care, but what I want and what's best for you might not be the same thing." "What do you want?" Lucy asked. Cole was quiet for so long that Lucy thought he wasn't going to answer. Finally he said, "I want you to be happy. I want you to have everything you deserve, and I want you to never have to wonder what might have been if you had taken this chance. That's not what I asked. I asked what you want. What I want doesn't matter. It matters to me." Cole looked at her with those sad eyes again. "What I want is for you to stay here and build a life with me. I want us to grow this ranch together, train horses together, maybe even raise a family together someday. I want to wake up every morning knowing you're here, and I want to go to sleep every night knowing you'll still be here tomorrow." Lucy felt her heart break and soar at the same time. "Then why are you trying so hard to convince me to leave?" "Because I love you," Cole said simply. "And because I love you, I can't let you sacrifice your future for me." "What if staying here isn't a sacrifice? What if it's exactly what I want too?" "Is it?" Cole asked. "Or do you just think it is because you're scared of leaving your comfort zone?" Lucy didn't have a good answer for that question, and it bothered her for days. Was she considering staying because she genuinely believed it was the right choice? Or was she just afraid of starting over somewhere new? The answer came to her while she was working with Thunder. The stallion had made incredible progress since coming back to the ranch. He was calm, trusting, and eager to work. As Lucy watched him respond to her commands with enthusiasm and joy, she realized something important. Thunder was thriving not because he was at the fanciest facility with the best equipment, but because he was somewhere he felt safe and loved. He was with people who understood him, who were patient with his fears, and who believed in his potential. Lucy felt exactly the same way about the Double R Ranch. That night, she made her choice. On the day Lucy was supposed to give Westfield her final answer, Cole found her in the barn at sunrise, loading her belongings into boxes. His heart sank to his boots. "So you're really going," he said quietly. Lucy looked up from the box she was packing. "I'm moving," she said simply. Cole felt like someone had punched him in the stomach. He had spent 2 weeks preparing himself for this moment, telling himself that he wanted what was best for Lucy, even if it meant losing her. But actually seeing her pack her things was harder than he had imagined. "When do you leave?" he asked, trying to keep his voice steady. "Today, actually." "Today?" Cole couldn't hide his surprise. "I thought you had until the end of the week." "I do. But I figured there was no point in dragging it out." Cole nodded, though inside he felt like his world was falling apart. "Do you need help loading your truck?" Lucy straightened up and really looked at him for the first time that morning. "Cole, where do you think I'm going?" "To Westfield. To start your new job. And you think I'd pack all my stuff to drive to Westfield?" Cole frowned, confused. Well, yeah. You got the job, they're giving you a house, you need your things. Lucy started laughing, actually laughing like he had said something hilarious. Cole Rivers, for a smart man, you can be pretty dense sometimes. What are you talking about? I'm not moving to Westfield, Lucy said, grinning at his confused expression. I'm moving out of the bunkhouse. The bunkhouse? Into the main house with you. That is if you'll have me. Cole stared at her for a long moment, afraid to believe what he was hearing. You turned down the job? I turned down the job. But why? It was everything you ever wanted. Lucy walked over to him and took his hands in hers. No, Cole. Everything I ever wanted is right here. The job at Westfield would have been nice, but it wouldn't have been mine. I'd be working for someone else, following someone else's vision, building someone else's dream. But the money, the prestige, the opportunities will all be there in a few years when we've built this place into something even better than Westfield. Lucy said confidently. Cole, we've created something special here. We've taken a failing ranch and turned it into a successful business. We've trained horses that people are fighting to buy. We've built a reputation for honesty and quality that money can't purchase. Cole still looked stunned. But I told you to take the job. I practically pushed you out the door. You told me to take the job because you love me and want what's best for me, Lucy said softly. But what you didn't understand is that what's best for me is being with the person I love, building something together that we can be proud of. Are you sure? Cole asked. Really sure, because once you turn down an opportunity like this, they might not ask again. I'm completely sure. Do you know what convinced me? What thunder? I was watching him the other day, and I realized he's thriving here not because we have the fanciest equipment or the most money, but because he's with people who love him and believe in him. That's when I knew this is where I belong too. Cole pulled her into his arms and held her tight, hardly able to believe she was staying. I love you, Lucy Coleman. I think I've loved you since the day you marched up to me at that auction and demanded I hire you instead of buying your horse. I love you too, Lucy said, pulling back to look at his face. And I have a proposition for you. Another proposition? What would you say to making this partnership official? Not just the business partnership, but all of it. Cole's eyes widened. Are you asking me to marry you? I'm asking you to build a life with me. Marriage, kids, growing old together, the whole thing. What do you say, partner? Instead of answering with words, Cole kissed her. It was a kiss that said everything they had been too scared to say for months. That they loved each other, that they chose each other, and that they were ready to face whatever came next together. When they finally broke apart, Cole grinned. I say yes to all of it, but I have one condition. What's that? We do this right. I want to court you properly, ask your father for permission, get you a ring, the whole traditional thing. Lucy laughed. Cole, we've been living on the same ranch for 6 months. I think we're past the traditional courtship stage. Maybe. But I want everyone to know that you're not just my business partner or my roommate. I want them to know you're the woman I chose to spend my life with. In that case, Lucy said, standing on her tiptoes to kiss him again, I'd better finish moving my stuff into our house. 6 months later, Lucy stood in the barn wearing a simple white dress, surrounded by flowers and all the people who mattered most to them. They had decided to have their wedding on the ranch, in the same barn where they had first learned to work together. Cole waited for her at the makeshift altar, wearing his best suit and the biggest smile she had ever seen. Thunder was there too, decorated with ribbons and looking proud to be part of the celebration. Dearly beloved, the minister began, we are gathered here today to witness the union of Cole and Lucy, two people who found love in the most unexpected place. As Lucy walked down the aisle between the horse stalls, she thought about everything that had brought them to this moment. She had come to the ranch desperate and heartbroken, willing to do anything to save her horse. She was leaving the barn as Cole's wife, surrounded by friends and family, with a business they had built together and a future full of possibilities. Do you, Cole, take Lucy to be your wife, to love and cherish her, in sickness and in health, for richer or poorer, for as long as you both shall live? I do, Cole said, his voice strong and sure. Do you, Lucy, take Cole to be your husband, to love and cherish him in sickness and in health, for richer or poorer, for as long as you both shall live? I do, Lucy said, meaning it with every fiber of her being. Then by the power vested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife. Cole, you may kiss your bride. As Cole kissed her, Lucy heard the sound of horses whinnying in the distance and knew they were celebrating too. She thought about her mother, who would have loved Cole and been so proud of what Lucy had accomplished. And she thought about the future, the horses they would train, the children they would raise, and the love that would grow stronger with each passing year. "So, Mrs. Rivers," Cole said as they walked back down the aisle together, "any regrets about turning down that fancy job?" Lucy looked around at their ranch, their friends, their horses, and her new husband. "Not a single one," she said. "This is exactly where I belong." "Forever?" Cole asked. "Forever," Lucy promised, and as Thunder whinnied his approval from his pasture, Lucy knew she had made the right choice. She had found her home, her partner, and her happily ever after all in one place. Sometimes the best dreams weren't the ones you planned for. They were the ones that found you when you were brave enough to take a chance on love. The Double R Ranch prospered under their joint leadership, becoming known throughout the region for their gentle training methods and high-quality horses. Lucy and Cole eventually expanded into breeding and started a program that helped rescue and rehabilitate abused horses. And every morning when they walked out to feed the horses together, Lucy remembered the day she had begged a stranger not to buy her horse and to buy her instead. It had been the best proposition she had ever made, and the best decision Cole had ever accepted. They had both found exactly what they were looking for, even though neither of them had known they were looking for it. Love, it turned out, was a lot like training horses. It required patience, trust, and the willingness to let someone into your heart even when you weren't sure what would happen next. But when you found the right person, the risk was always worth it.